The final genuine smile I witnessed from my mother occurred during a rainy weekend in 1989, though I couldn't have known its significance then. We had rented a deteriorating cottage beside a Catskills lake. At 6 years old, I watched as Mom released her hair from its usual bun, allowing it to fall softly around her shoulders. She actually laughed when Dad charred the breakfast sausages, the only moment I can recall her appearing truly unburdened. This memory lingered not as some grand aspiration, but as a gentle promise I unconsciously made. Years later, when opportunity arose, I purchased property on that very lake. I created a home featuring expansive windows, wooden beams, and a wraparound porch where water sounds would drift through the night air. Though I never voiced it, I constructed this space with her in mind, a retirement haven where she might finally relax her shoulders. My name is Helen Whitman, age 42, owner of a boutique software company I launched in my early 30s after abandoning a corporate position that never allowed me to feel human. Single and childless, I've been described as driven, cold, and efficient, sometimes all at once. Yet I cover my parents' dental expenses, remember gift-giving occasions, and quietly helped with Brianna's student loans for 3 years. Brianna Bree, to everyone except me, is my junior by a decade. Blonde, vivacious, naturally gifted with people. She possessed an innate ability to arrive at perfect moments with humor or warmth. Her employment history showed frequent changes, but people overlooked this trait. She's discovering her path, Mom would explain, while noting, I had found mine early. No one ever labeled my determination as courage. Our parents, Frank and Linda, dedicated long hours to their hardware store throughout our childhood. They were honorable, exhausted individuals who never missed tax obligations but frequently missed family dinners. I learned early how to manage household operations. Bree learned the art of being beloved. The past year had created distance between us. Seattle work demands and pandemic precautions, particularly regarding Mom's 2021 pneumonia bout, kept me away. Still, I maintained regular communication and extended Lakehouse weekend invitations. Their response was always perhaps next month. I assumed they awaited calmer seasons. The Lakehouse represented more than real estate to me. It was the singular creation divorced from strategy or scaling, a memory transformed into wood and stone. Regardless of family drift, I clung to the belief that eventually I'd present my mother with keys, and she'd ask, "You remembered?" That vision shaped my internal narrative. But stories don't always unfold according to their author's intentions. On a late April Sunday morning, while reviewing client numbers over my second coffee, my phone buzzed with a Facebook notification. Brianna had tagged our mother in a photo album titled "Surprising Mom at the Most Beautiful Place to Celebrate 70 Incredible Years." Caption: couldn't have asked for a better day with the people who love her most. I opened the album slowly, thumb hovering longer than necessary. The first image revealed Mom in pale blue, caught mid-laugh while leaning over a pink rose cake. She occupied the wicker chair from my sunroom, the piece I'd driven 3 hours to collect because it evoked her presence. The subsequent photo revealed the full scope. My porch, adorned with fairy lights and paper lanterns. Bree stood behind, Mom, hands on her shoulders, grinning like someone who'd just solved Christmas. A cellist performed by the railing while the lake shimmered beyond. Every angle showcased the house I'd built: cedar beams, long oak table, those quartz countertops. I'd deliberated over for weeks, all of it, yet no trace of my presence existed. I continued scrolling through images of cousins, neighbors, Bree's college friends I hadn't seen since her third graduation celebration. Mr. Becker stood by my custom-designed fireplace, still wearing his fishing vest. Toasts were raised, plates cleared, candles lit. I remained unmentioned, absent from captions and tags alike. My call to Bree went unanswered. 10 minutes later, a text arrived. "Oh hey, yeah. Kind of last minute. Didn't think you'd be in town. Mom really needed a lift." It turned out so sweet. I stared until the letters blurred, then called my mother. "Helen, so wonderful to hear from you. You celebrated your birthday at the lake house." A pause. "Oh yes. Bree arranged everything. You knew and didn't consider informing me?" "Well, we assumed you were working, and Bree mentioned the short notice. Honestly, it was just a small gathering. 40 people with catering isn't small, Mom." "Well, it wasn't about size. It was about the feeling. Bree made it feel special. It was my house." Another pause, longer this time. "Well, you're not there frequently." "Sweetheart, and Bree handled all the coordination. I simply appeared and smiled. I absorbed this. Then she added, almost cheerfully, "You know how you dislike large crowds. I care when I'm erased from the picture. Oh, Helen, don't be dramatic." It was just a party. That evening, I opened a Florence wine I'd been saving for exactly this moment, a toast with Mom. Instead, I sat alone on the back deck, watching the bay turn silver in twilight. After 2 glasses, I poured the remainder down the drain. Later, Bree posted additional photos. One showed Mom holding a shawl I'd sent last Christmas. Captioned, "She's never felt more loved." I stopped responding to Bree's texts. No sentence seemed possible that wouldn't sound either petty or cruel. Instead, I retrieved an old college notebook, lined pages, no flourishes, and began listing memories. The flu winter of 1996. I was 13 when both parents fell ill simultaneously. I prepared soup, managed laundry, called Dad in sick. 3-year-old Bree kept crying for bedtime stories, so I recorded my voice on cassette and left it beside her bed. In 2008, when Bree missed a crucial final and nearly lost her scholarship, I drove 6 hours overnight to speak with the dean. She passed. She never inquired about the intervention. I never explained. When Dad's store nearly closed in 2015, I wired money into their account. Mom attributed it to a tax refund. Dad called it luck. Neither questioned the source. I documented every quiet contribution, then stopped, not from lack of material, but from realizing how many were never intended for visibility. That was the problem. I'd spent years believing right actions didn't require audiences. This belief no longer held. Bree wasn't malicious. She was simply fluent in visibility, understanding how to navigate the world while gathering attention like pollen. She embraced publicly, wrote handwritten notes left on pillows, remembered birthdays, and made everything sparkle. I operated behind walls. A week post-party, I contacted the lake house property manager to schedule deep cleaning. She hesitated. "I thought you approved the event." Bree said it was a family gathering you'd authorized. "She told you that?" "Yes, ma'am. She said everything was arranged. I wouldn't have permitted a party otherwise." About 40 guests catered food. Someone spilled wine in the sunroom. We attempted cleanup. When photos arrived, I examined them like evidence. My pale rug now bore a deep maroon stain barely concealed under a throw. Scratches lined the hallway floor. A chipped corner marked the kitchen island I'd commissioned from reclaimed oak. This wasn't merely damage, it was permission assumed without asking. I invited them to dinner through our family group chat. "Would love to see you all for dinner next Saturday. I'll bring food. Your place at 6. No one questioned the invitation or declined. I arrived with lasagna, salad, and wine. No one touched. The house smelled of lemon cleaner. Bree was already there, curled on the couch in leggings and a good vibes only sweatshirt. Frank occupied his recliner, flipping through muted television channels. Linda fussed with napkins. No one mentioned the party. We managed salad before I requested, "Can we turn off the TV? I have something to discuss." Frank looked surprised but reached for the remote. Silence filled the room. I opened my laptop. "I want to show you several things. First, the wine stain photo, then hallway scratches, the kitchen island chip." I clicked deliberately, allowing each image to linger. "These are from the house after the party." Bree shifted. "Okay, but it's just normal wear and tear, Helen. It was a celebration. You didn't ask permission." She shrugged. "It was Mom's birthday. You were probably working anyway." I didn't respond. Clicking to the next slide, a screenshot of Bree's Facebook post about being surrounded by everyone who loved Mom most. Linda set down her fork. "It was a beautiful day. Everyone gathered. Bree made it happen. And you didn't consider inviting me?" "We assumed you were busy," Frank offered. "You've been traveling so much lately. You didn't forget. You made a decision." Bree crossed her arms. "Oh, come on. You're treating this like some grand betrayal. It was a party. We thought it was better not to pressure you." "Better for whom?" "I don't know, Helen. You always complicate things. There's always paperwork, systems, policies. You built this perfect house, then disappeared into work. We filled it for one day. That's all." I looked at her. "You used my silence as permission." The room stilled. Frank cleared his throat. "So what now? You want an apology? Payment for a new couch?" "Yes," I said. "I do." Bree laughed. "You're seriously invoicing your own family? I'm holding you accountable for the damage and for using my property without consent. If I'd done this to either of you, I know how it would be received." Linda spoke gently. Honey, this isn't like some corporate matter. It's family.no, I said. It's both. They blinked. I continued. I built that house envisioning Mom living there eventually. I designed every detail with her in mind. Then you used it for a party that excluded me. You rewrote the story and used my name to do it. Bree opened her mouth, then closed it. I shut the laptop. You don't have to agree, but you must understand this moving forward. If you want to use the house, you ask. If you break something, you fix it. If I'm part of this family, I belong in the room, not just the bank account. Silence stretched. The lasagna sat untouched. Outside, wind chimes rattled faintly. Frank finally said, maybe we could have handled it differently, but this feels harsh. So did being erased, I replied. I stood, gathered my belongings, and paused at the doorway. You didn't just forget me, you excluded me deliberately. I won't permit it again. The next morning, I sent an email with 3 attachments, a PDF invoice, a property use agreement, and comparative pre- and post-event photographs. The invoice totaled $4,608 itemizing professional cleaning, upholstery repair, and flooring touch-ups. No markup, just numbers. The second document outlined usage policy, nothing dramatic, just 4 bullet points. Written request required 2 weeks advance, $1,000 refundable damage deposit, pre- and post-use photo documentation, signed liability waiver. For all guests, I sent it to Bree, Frank, and Linda with a brief note. Going forward, please use these guidelines if you'd like to access the lake house. As always, I'm happy to share what I've built, but not without respect. An hour later, Bree posted to Instagram a photo of Mom holding a framed party print. Caption: some people forget what love looks like when they chase money. We didn't. She didn't tag me. She didn't need to. Frank called that evening, sounding tired rather than angry. Was all that really necessary? I think so. You're making this into something it doesn't have to be. No, Dad. I'm making it into what it already was. He sighed. You've always been particular, and you've always let her act like she owned things she didn't pay for. A long pause. I know you've done a lot. I just hate seeing you all so divided. So did I, until I realized I was the only one holding the pieces together. Later, Bree replied with one line. You really think this makes you look strong? I didn't answer. The next morning, I transferred the house's smart lock system to restricted access. I didn't block them or change locks. I simply made the door ask questions first. Nearly a month passed before they visited. Frank texted first. We're coming up Saturday if that's okay. No agenda, just us. I agreed, then spent the morning cleaning an already spotless house. They arrived mid-afternoon. Linda brought lemon bars in a familiar plastic container. Frank carried a folding chair for the porch. I offered coffee. We didn't speak much initially. Linda wandered the house slowly, pausing in the sunroom where the wine stain had been. The fabric looked clean, but I watched her fingers trace the armrest edge. Anyway, you kept the chimes, she said softly, nodding toward the porch. They sound better in wind than in theory, I replied. We sat, the 3 of us. The lake was flat and gray that day, the kind of stillness that presses against the ribs. Frank broke the silence. I think we got used to you handling everything. I did handle everything. He nodded quietly. I guess we started believing that meant you didn't need anything in return. Linda looked down. I didn't know how much it cost you to be so capable. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I reached into the side table drawer and retrieved a photo me at 13, holding a box mix cake, my arm around Mom's shoulder. Bree wasn't in it, just the 2 of us. Linda took it in her hands. Her expression didn't change, but something shifted. I forgot this day. I didn't. We sat in different silence, now not empty, but full of unspoken understanding. As they prepared to leave, Frank turned at the door. You still want this place to be hers someday? I looked out at the porch. The wind had picked up. The chimes answered for me. Bree never apologized in words. But 2 weeks later, a payment arrived through Zelle. $4,608. No note, no subject line, just the exact invoice amount. I stared at it long before accepting. Days later, I hosted brunch at the lake house. Nothing elaborate, just me, Frank, Linda, and simple eggs, fruit, and muffins. No candles, toasts, or hashtags. I set for places, but only 3 were filled. The 4th chair remained empty. I didn't comment on it. Neither did they. It wasn't about punishment or messaging, just space left open for someone who had once decided I didn't belong in my own home. After clearing plates, Linda stood by the window, watching the lake. Then she said, "It really is beautiful here." I nodded. She turned to me. "You didn't have to invite us." I know. Outside, wind moved through trees as it always had. The chimes tapped gently against the porch beam, one note, then another, then silence. I'm not asking you to take sides, but there are mornings I still remember that photo, the birthday cake, my mother's smile, my house, and my absence. No one crossed out my name. They simply never wrote it down. Sometimes the deepest hurt isn't what's said, it's what's quietly decided without you. No slamming doors or shouting, just a space you built being quietly filled without you. If you've ever been the one who gave quietly, if you've ever discovered the family story was told without your name in it, then perhaps you understand what it's like to be erased with a smile. I'm not asking you to comment or explain. Just this. What's one word you wish they'd said to you? One word you waited for. One word you still hear even in silence. Leave it below. No judgment, no details, just the word.